Hello and welcome to Metatron's messages from Australia for September the 1st. As many of you will know, in Australia, September the 1st signifies the first day of spring. It's not entirely a change of the seasons, since there's just a gradual, or sometimes not so gradual, a heating up of the temperatures. Today it's pleasant and balmy, which is nothing like the furor that currently exists around the world. And Metatron has asked me if my voice will hold out long enough, he said it will, to comment on much of the furor that currently is occurring around the world due to the video that has come out by a person of high prominence who has been acknowledged as the angel lady, Doreen Virtue, for many, many years. She's built her business on being able to communicate with the angels and the ascended masters and with Christ, with God. And her apparent about face, that as some people see it, as she returns to what is to her roots, her core belief, has caused great not only furor, but it's been a catalyst for discussion. What Metatron has wanted me to bring through is that the difference of opinion that many people have regarding Doreen's beliefs and her statements is actually a good thing. It's good for all of us. He wants us, first of all, to bring us into a place where we can listen to the message that he's asked me to bring through. He's asked me, first of all, to spray with his white spray around and through our aura, to charge it, to open us up to his words and to the words of anyone who wishes to come through with a message of support at this time, to help us navigate what can be turbulent waters at this time. So please allow that beautiful white spray to seep through your aura, seep into your being, to let you be open to words which may be different to those which you had previously thought or spoken. And from that place, to connect with Archangel Metatron more deeply, I want to spray his orange attunement spray, which is the spray we use to help us communicate with him, so that I can bring through his messages. And he's laughing at me because, as you all know, as we all know, whether it's our sprays, whether it's the crystals we use, whether it's the angel cards or the tarot cards or meditation or chanting or meditating in nature, anything that we use in order to help us to commune with our higher self, with source, with other beings, angelic beings, with the nature spirits, they're simply tools and props to aid us. And Metatron is telling me to remind everyone, he's asking me to remind everyone that it is within each of us at any time to communicate, to talk with himself or with any other, if we wish to gain clarity and peace on any topic that is of concern to us. And one of the things that he wants me to talk about is to touch on the subject of belief. Each person, as they go through life, are either introduced as a baby or gravitate towards certain beliefs as they grow and mature, whether it is because their parents believe this or whether they associate with others who believe this. They absorb and integrate a belief system which they can live with, and they will put forth into the world in the ways that they behave. And we all know, with all of the things that are happening, that some people who have the facade of deep belief in something can even then act in a way that is totally contrary to that belief. However, what he wants to bring our focus on is belief. What I believe may not be exactly the same as the things that you believe in. They may be similar, they may be very similar, but they may not be identical. And what Metatron has said over the last week is that this is the same thing that applies with everybody else. That even if they have gained great prominence teaching, a spiritual way of being that is in communication with the archangels, angels, ascended masters, with whatever you perceive to be God or the source, creation. It is your choice. It is your choice. It is your decision to make. We, the rest of us, are asked to give the other people around us the understanding that they have these beliefs. We are asked to accept that they may not be the same as mine, as yours, as anyone else's. But most of all, Metatron, and I've actually got a few people here now, and I've been asked to spray the Archangel Zadkiel spray, which is brought in on the purple ray. Archangel Zadkiel is here, and he wants to... Please feel Archangel Zadkiel's presence here on the purple ray. It is the purple ray of transmutation and forgiveness. And as you may be aware, transmutation can take anything which is negative or anything which is in discord with your own beliefs, if you have the capacity to forgive both yourself and others, transmute it into love. And it is only when we are in a state of love that we are in the fifth dimensional way of being. And I know I keep speaking of this fifth dimensional way of being, but when I talk of it, I'm talking about being in a state of love. Loving acceptance for myself as I am, loving acceptance for others as they are. This may not mean that you agree with or I agree with what they say, what they do, how they live, how they act, how they comport their lives, how they build their lives. I am asked to simply try to understand, accept that we are all different, and have tolerance for the differences which surround us, and to be in a place of love, loving acceptance. Because when we are in a place of loving acceptance, we can allow others to have a different viewpoint to our own without feeling challenged, without feeling threatened, without feeling deserted if they change their minds. It is part of being human to experiment whilst we are in search of that which we will believe in, that which is within our core essence and we may not be aware of. We experiment, we search and look at different things so that we can gain understanding. Because the purple ray at this time, with Archangel Zadkiel and Archangel Metatron are saying the purple ray at this time is really important. So I'm also going to now spray us all with the Metatron Plum Spray, another beautiful purple spray, to deepen that air, that layer, to enhance within our aura the purple ray, to bring understanding, transmutation, forgiveness, love, understanding. In that place we are able to have a space where we can allow others as well as ourselves to believe what is important to us. Saint Germaine, who is also Saint Germaine of the Purple Ray, is also here. So we have a beautiful gathering of strong, caring beings, angelic ascended masters, people, beings of love and understanding, people of tolerance and understanding, acceptance. It is not my place, neither is it, and these are the words that I am being asked to deliver, it is not my place, nor is it your place to judge what another person believes. We are asked to give to them the same ability, the courtesy to believe in whatever it is that brings them closer to love, to a place of higher understanding than they currently are now. It may seem ironic at this time to be talking of love and understanding, of tolerance, of being in a place of forgiveness when we appear to be beset on all corners by political figures who are determined, it appears, to push us to the brink of an incredible conflagration of war, because we have enormous egos out there. And each person wants to have their word, their say, their dictates followed. And I'm hearing the words dictate very clearly. They are wishing to dictate that their way is the only way, when in actual fact, as Christ said, all roads lead to one God. All roads lead to the same place. We each have our own road to follow to get to that place. And this is what is important in September, is to focus on the fact that we have at our, not at our behest, not at our call, our request. We can request at any time for the angels, the archangels, for our higher self, for God, if this is whom we believe in, for the creation, for source. It is within our ability to request the assistance of these beings at any time. And I am told that in time there will be more than the angelic beings and ascended masters with whom we currently are familiar. We always have been part of a grander, greater, universal world, place than we have acknowledged in the past. I am being shown an example, and I'd like to try to describe it for you. Within each of our bodies, we have millions and millions of cells which push and pull against each other and work together in order to make the system, which is our body, work. In the same way, the earth is one cell of the universe which push and pull and work together to make the universe work. And it would be a total hubris on my part, on anyone's part, to believe that we alone are the only beings in this universe and any universe out there who have the ability to communicate, to do, to be, to act, to think, to feel, to create, to be able to believe, to be able to understand, to have tolerance for the mistakes that are made in growing, and to be here ready when we are ready to allow us to get to know who they are. And this time will come. This is our future. I'd like to spray us with the Tanzanite spray, the new Tanzanite spray, which is the third eye spray that Amanda Ellis has created for us, because it too is on the blue purple ray. One of the things which has caused dissension within part of Doreen's video was that people have interpreted her words to say that being able to be clairvoyant, clairsentient, clairaudient, to communicate with spirits, to be able to communicate with people who are passed over, to use the tarot cards as a predictive tool is wrong, is evil in her church's belief. That's okay. Metatron is saying, and they're all saying, that is okay. That is all right. That is their belief. As long as they do not seek to compel others to believe what they believe, they can believe this because it is not hurting anyone. You and I can still use the angel cards, the tarot cards, the sprays, the crystals, the incense, prayers, meditation, the presence of the archangels and the angels, the nature sprite, the water nymph. We are free to have the belief that leads us to a place of love. Christ has said that He has a new place in our lives now. He has, when I asked him a few days ago, he said the Gospels that people have taken as a rule book, as the guidebook by which they must think, feel, believe, do, understand, were not the words that he spoke when he was alive. And he wants us to actually, he said, this is not who he is. This was never who he was. Men wrote these words long after I was gone. Other men have continued to interpret these words. They are not my words. This is not my interpretation. My word was love. My life was love. My life had naught to do with the manner of my death. My life was, and my life is, the example, the way of ascension, the way of love. And Christ wants us very much to understand this now and to be tolerant of other people who have not yet reached this place of understanding and belief, until they can accept that Christ is here, as the archangels are here, as Metatron is saying, as they are all here for our benefit now and in the future. They have always been here. They have never left us. We simply closed our eyes, closed our minds, closed our hearts to the message that they had brought in the past. But they never left. They were always here. To those who had ears to hear and eyes to see and a heart not only to feel, but a heart that was willing to share the love that was there, they have always been here. And that love, the light of that love, is growing. Please join me now in whatever version of Christ you wish to accept at this time. Mine is on the beautiful coral ray, Christ light and cosmic love. And allow Christ to become a part of your life. His energy of love, his energy and his teachings, his words of love and understanding. Raphael has said, tell them why you can't talk. I've had the flu since my last video, and I've had laryngitis, and I do believe I would have been much worse if I hadn't had these beautiful sprays. However, talking continuously, and obviously I'm bringing through a great deal of energy at the present time. Raphael said, I'm straining my vocal cords. He's showing me the vocal cords becoming inflamed from talking. And how I've got an admonitory finger being pointed at me now. Excuse me. Because I had plans on making a video with a meditation in, for the solar eclipse. I was dreadfully disappointed when my voice just completely went. It wasn't a squeak, it was just nothing at all. And Metatron and Raphael both came and spoke to me, and I had Sandalphon. I've had different archangels coming at different times because I've kept asking the same question: why? And of course, why is a question that is, you can get a different answer every time until you understand the answer that's given to you. I needed that time to be quiet so that I could process the light, the energies that were coming into Earth. I needed that silence so that I could see beyond the first action that was taken to try and see some kind of understanding behind that. And we have had, yet again, more instances of terror attacks, more deaths. We have had, and currently in America, we have the hurricane that is devastating Texas and Louisiana and those states. And please forgive me, geography is not my strong suit, but these people have been in my thoughts and my prayers ever since. Everyone, as things happen, I have different grids that I make up, and I include people. I add more crystals for different people in different areas at different times. But I have a world grid that I have, which is to send the light of love, universal love, out to everyone. It is easy, they tell me. Metatron says it is easy when things are at their worst to be sucked back into the darkness. And it is ever more important in those times to shine your light of love, compassion, and understanding into the world, because it is only the light which can and will drive the darkness away. But he's also explained that it is as our light and as more people come into the light and shine the light, as there is more light on earth being shone, that the darkness responds by creating these events. And we need to understand this and be strong enough to stand in the place of unconditional love, not to condone what they do, but to find a place of forgiveness for the soul within. Because it is only by responding with those higher frequencies, the higher energies of love and compassion and forgiveness, that we can overcome the darkness that can reside anywhere at any time. Hate is another face of terror. Because I have a belief in the archangels, in Christ, in the goodness of people, it does not mean that I am blind to the darkness that can exist in people. It does not mean that I accept the darkness that exists. I will send love and light, understanding and compassion into those places Christ says this is the only way that we as a species will be able to overcome the power of darkness. It is also, I have Mother Mary here at the moment, who, as you know, she is always, I have her picture here, you always see Mother Mary wearing a beautiful blue cloak. She too is working on the blue and purple ray. And she says it is only by being the mother of mankind, by learning to love that which may seem unlovable, that we will truly understand how great we can be. Archangel Chamuel is the archangel of love and peace. And at this particular time, with everything that is happening, whether it is from acts of terror, whether it is because there is a furor, because someone has felt the need to change that which they believe in and publicly state that, think for one moment about the strength, the courage, the integrity shown by publicly coming out and saying that they can no longer do that which they have done before because their belief has changed. Whether we agree with it or not, it has taken tremendous courage. It does not change what I believe, nor what you believe. But let us now ask Archangel Chamuel to shine love and light, peace and understanding around the world on the beautiful pink ray. Let us accept, let us absorb this beautiful feeling of love and peace. I can feel a beautiful warmth emanating from within with Archangel Chamuel's presence. There is no need for me to change that which I believe. There is no need for me to defend what I believe. I am in no way challenged, undermined, threatened by someone else, someone who is as prominent as Doreen Virtue, coming out and saying that my belief in the archangels, being able to communicate myself with the archangels by being able to ask the angels and archangels to take my message through to God, higher source, creation, my higher self, there is no need for me to change my belief that I can ask them to take my messages further on to a higher dimension, to a higher being, to God, and bring a message back to me. There is nothing I need to fear or worry about or concern myself with. This is as I wish. This is as it is my truth. It is my truth. I do not need to feel that I need a priest, pastor, minister, imam. I do not need a holy person to tell me what God's message is, to tell me what I need to believe, because I already know, and the angels and archangels support me 110% in this. Christ said, where 2 or more of you are gathered together, there I am. He didn't say we had to be inside a church or a mosque. We did not need to be inside a building. We do not even need to be inside a grove of trees. We can be anywhere and we can communicate directly with Christ, with the archangels, with God. This is the gift that we have been given. The gift of love, the gift of acceptance, the gift of learning, the understanding that our belief, my belief, your belief, there is a place for everything as long as it is encapsulated and expanded and grown with unconditional love. Metatron said, encapsulate is the wrong word, because love cannot be encapsulated. If you try to box love into something, anything, you diminish it. It is only when love is open and able to be open that the light shines ever brightly and can act as the beacon of hope for all. I'd like to draw a card for us from Metatron, and I'm using the Lightworkers Oracle by Alana Fairchild, and I'm using these cards simply as a prop, a guide to help me bring through whatever Metatron has to say at this time before my voice goes completely. Whoops. Okay, here we go. The first card that flew out at me, and I'll see if I can get all of it in there, is just a beautiful, okay, it shows a woman, a lady, praying to, it looks like, to me, they're the wings of an archangel, but the light of the divine. She is praying to the divine, and the message is reassurance of the golden light. And the golden light represents the light of unconditional love, the light of the divine. Metatron is assuring us that so long as there is unconditional love, the light will always shine. And this is from a deck of cards. He said there is no need to fear it, there is no need to turn away from it, there is no need to argue over it. One more card, please, Archangel Metatron, for another message. Okay, the next one that came out is beautiful. Yet again, we have different color, but it is still the light of the divine, and we have the beautiful orbs. Now, in many places, the orbs represent spirits that are around us. They do to me. And it says here, soul child. And there's, down the bottom here, we have 2 little figures, soul child. So this here we have the divine. We have the divine wherever the divine exists. And we have the spirit, the light of the divine coming down. We have souls coming down. We have the children, soul, child there. We are in effect, Metatron is saying to me, we are soul We are children. We have not yet attained maturity as incarnated souls. We are incarnated into our physical bodies in order to learn to grow. Therefore, we are a soul child. But we have not lost our connection with divine light, with other souls. We can communicate with other souls in whichever way is the easiest for us to reach a connection, to reach a, whoops, flying out all over, I'm sorry. Beautiful one. I was about to say, could I have a final card for us? What a beautiful picture for the first day of spring in Australia. A woman surrounded by beautiful flowers. And the message is wisdom of the divine feminine. And it is doubly important at this, not doubly, it is incredibly important at this time, as we see on the political scene, in particular, two figures who are both males, representing the divine masculine, representing, not divine masculine, representing the old patriarchal system of dominance and dictatorship, who are trying to exert their influence over the entire world. We have this card come out right now, the divine feminine. We have the first day of spring in Australia, and we have the divine feminine. It's extraordinarily significant, and there is more of a message there for each one of us. Please look at this image. Let this image speak to you. Please note that we have light and we have darker side here. She's telling me that there is even within the divine feminine, we have light and we have dark, but we have the beauty all around. We have the strength. We have the divine light and spirit souls all around. We all know that no flower, no plant can grow and flower and retain this beauty without great strength and determination. We must go through fire, flood, freezing cold, gale force winds, the extremes of all the elements in order to be able to bring forth the beauty that is in the world now. The divine feminine resides within each woman and each man. I'm being corrected by saying that it was the divine masculine. Yes, these two people, Trump and the Korean Prime Minister, they represent the divine, the worst of the divine masculine, the worst of the patriarchal system, because they have the patriarchal way of thinking, the strength and dominance and armaments and strength and destruction. They are actually overwhelming the divine masculine within themselves, and also totally negating the divine feminine within themselves. And they do not have to be effeminate to have the divine feminine within themselves. The bottom of the pack, I was told to take the card from the bottom of the pack because it's important, and it is alchemical mutation. You see the figure of, and connect the symbology. We've just had the beautiful woman representing the divine feminine. We now have alchemical mutation. We have the figure of a man who is changing into an angel. But the angel is not really masculine. It's almost androgynous. Because the angels don't have sex, is what I'm told. And I'm hearing chuckling all around at this moment. But what I'm being asked to, it is a closing message that I've been asked to give that may be, I've been shown a fire, incendiary. So first of all, he said, take the fire elemental and spray that around so that we get all of the assistance from the golden dragon that we possibly can, because they're here with us at the moment. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. The fire dragon, because fire purifies. Alchemical mutation. At the moment in Australia, there are, and it's not just confined to Australia, there are plans, motions underway by the forgive me here, LGBTI, lay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, and I'm sorry, I can't remember what the I stands for, in relation to equality in marriage, in relation to allowing children, minors, to wear, if they're a male, wear dresses, if they're a female, wear boys' clothes, have their hair cut in the way of a boy or whatever, whilst they're at school. Equality must come for everyone. At this time, we have not been given the information to understand on why this is happening. The message that I have been asked to relay is very simple, and it relates back to the original message that Doreen's video has brought up. Belief, understanding, acceptance, tolerance. Who I am and who you are is right for you, as right as I am for me. The words of Metatron are very clear. And Christ, they are saying, unconditional love exists, has the opportunity to exist between each person, as it has the opportunity to exist within each of you. By denying each other, you dim the light of love. But understanding of each person is important in any process of change. What I want to say is that any group of people who wish to insist that change be taken in an air of confrontation, of militance. Militance is a word, I don't know if it's the right one here, where any change brings people into discord, there will be resentment. It will make the change and the acceptance harder to achieve. We are being asked in September, as the energies continue to increase our ability to shine the light of unconditional love on ourselves and on everyone else, we are being asked to also allow people to have their beliefs, as long as they do not try to make you or I change what we believe to fit in with them. There is a place for everyone. And I know that there is probably more that I could talk about, but I would like to ask you to please think about, first of all, that we have to allow everyone the right to change their beliefs, their opinions, their feelings, their understanding. And we have to, once we accept that they have a right to their own belief, that I have my right to my own belief. I want to be understood. I want you to be tolerant of my beliefs, to accept my way of thinking and feeling and doing. That I feel that the purple ray from Archangel Zadkiel of transformation and understanding and forgiveness, from Archangel Gabriel of soul calling and guidance, can help everyone. The archangels are not bound by race, color, creed, age, sex, sexual orientation, your background, your foreground, your future. They are not confined by any of these things. They are here for us now. They always have been, and they always will be. It is up to you and I to decide if that is what we wish. That is their prayer for us. That is their offering to us. They are offering the light of unconditional love to you, to me, to every person, creature, plant, mineral, Mother Earth, everything on the earth, everything within the earth, under the earth, above the earth, around the earth, within the cosmos. They offer, and every being, every extraterrestrial, as well as our inner beings, every single living entity are offered the light of unconditional love. That is the message for September that I'm able to bring through, that each person is allowed to have their own belief. So remember always that with love, and continuing to love despite the challenges we're faced, is the only way we are able to achieve that, or bring that peace and understanding that we need. Can we move forward and overcome the darkness that is trying so hard to overwhelm us? So, with the light of unconditional love from my heart to yours, I wish you blessings for the first day of spring, and namaste. Thank you so much for joining me.